we should do a Fix My Waifu. I am going to make a video dedicated to Arcsystem as a letter and as an SOS. I'm putting a note in the bottle, sending it out to C's, and hoping that somebody over at ASW gets it. Okay, let's start off from the very beginning with Neo, okay? Neo is very good. She has fantastic tools. She's got things that nobody else has, and she's got things that can deal with almost like more than half the roster. She's got parries, she's got mix-ups, she's got combos, she's got loops, she's got supers, ways to open you up, great neutral, all that good stuff. So, what's the deal with Neo? People are all saying that she's the worst character in the game right now, or she's one of the worst characters in the game, and I can't get behind that, but I can see why people are saying that now. I started digging and started researching a lot about Neo, and there's a couple things I found out that I came to the conclusion that either Arcsystem didn't pay too much attention to her tool set, they didn't finish it, or they half-assed it. I mean, let me tell you the pros of this character. Her damage is actually not bad at all. Her damage is pretty average, if not above average. The only main weakness when it comes to dishing out damage is her scaling. Her scaling is atrocious. And what is scaling? If you don't know what scaling is, it basically means that the longer, or depending on the starter, or depending how long the combo is, your combo starts to gradually do less damage over time. And that's called scaling. You do things like this, basically. You see you start to do less damage over time? That's scaling. And her scaling is awful when it comes to that, and when it comes to her supers. And that's my problem right there. That's problem number one. Her super scaling is awful. And here's the thing with that. This super is not bad. There's a couple of gripes I have with this super. Number one is the scaling for this super is really, really bad. Now, this is a happy birthday super, which means that this super automatically does not do nearly as much damage as a super that's not a happy birthday super. Happy birthday super is it can combo two characters at the same time. So like, if I do this, you see how I hit both characters? That's a happy birthday super. And because of this, it automatically doesn't do that much damage. Now here's the thing. I was trying to compare another character to Neo recently, which is Blake. Blake is almost on the same boat, but with glaring differences. Blake also has a super that's a happy birthday super. Now here's the thing with Neo and Blake. Blake also has the other super, which is a non-happy birthday super, and those supers do more damage automatically. The difference between the two is that Neo doesn't have a super that does a lot of damage, and because of that, she suffers from low damage output when it comes to killing. Like, she can't finish her plates. Another person in the chat said it best. She reminds me of Sheik from Smash Brothers. And if you guys are Smash Brothers heads, you know that Sheik can dish out some damage, she can accumulate damage, but she cannot finish her plate. She can't get that stock. Neo, I think, is on the same boat. She either has to spend a lot of resources to get that to get the kill, or she has to rely on her partner, which is very, very apparent with her. But they should at least buff the scaling for that super, because she doesn't have another super that does a lot of damage. She has this one, but this is only a combo starter. That's it. By the way, a sub gripe. Yes, I'm making sub gripes. Sub gripes with this super is that while it is considered a projectile super, which means that if there is something out there that can clash with this thing, like for example, look at this. Watch this. If I use that, the clone disappears once it contacts something. If there is a super out there or something that can make contact, for example, a persona, if a persona is out and Neo does the super, Neo's clone disappears and the super's done. Let me show you what I mean. And I do this super, you see that it clashes and it nullifies the super completely. I feel like that's not fair. I feel like that's really stupid. I don't like that. I feel like the clone should go through specific projectiles. It should be a projectile invincible super. It's super unfair. So this not only counts for personas, but it counts for projectiles and other things that you can put on the screen that doesn't have a hurt box per se. So that's First subgripe, and you heard me correctly, first subgripe. The second subgripe is how small the hitbox is for the super. I feel like they should increase the hitbox for the super, which means that the point of contact that it makes with the opponents should be bigger. So as of right now, you see that clone right there is all she's got. That's her hitbox right there, her entire hitbox. So I feel like they should increase it to make it better. To make it better when you cancel out of it. So for example, I play Yumi as well. I do this super, and I literally have to I have to Kobe this thing, man. It's like landing a 3-pointer from the freaking half court. From half court, man, I have to try and land this freaking shot. Just trying to pinpoint it up. Okay, and because if not, if he hits the ground or if he's too high up, it misses. So if I do this super right here, bam. If I do it too early, it misses completely. So I feel like, I have to get it right on the sweet spot so I can actually get the freaking thing. It just needs a bigger hitbox. I have to just, there you go, I got it. I have to eyeball it. And doing this online is almost impossible because of the delay and net play, net play. I think the super should have better scaling, bigger hitbox, and it should go through personas or should be projectile invincible. I'm just saying, she basically has one super to utilize that from full screen or from anything else, And you have Narukami here, and you have Adachi having full screen supers. Like, yeah, let's just do the super and whatever. Anyways, the second thing is probably the biggest thing. Her assists. This is the biggest thing. Like I was saying, I was making a kind of a case study with other characters that are on the same boat, but we consider better characters. And there's only one difference I can spot that really makes this apparent. Assists. So let's compare Blake and Neo, because they are practically almost the same. Very mobile, can play at a lot of different ranges, has a lot of different tool sets. You can, great neutral as well, but the only difference, not very high damaging combos. There's one main difference that Blake and Neo have, assists. Blake's assists are amazing. And because of that, we consider Blake a better character. Also her range and other things like that. She's better cross-ups, all that good stuff. But the biggest thing, I think, in my opinion, is assists. Now, if Neo had better assists, I think we would paint her in a very different light. Her assists are the worst assists in the game, period. You cannot argue that. Try to argue that, you're gonna get blown up because they are awful. Worst assists in the game. Now, here's the thing with her assists, okay? Whenever let me just show off these assists. 6P. 6P is a clone that hits once, and it does not propel them high enough for you to combo from full screen or anything like that. 5P, the exact same assist, but instead of sending out a clone, she sends herself out. All right, that's that. 4P, possibly one of the worst 4Ps, if not the worst 4P in the game. She stands right there and she sends a clone to come downward at a 45-degree angle and bounces them high up in the air. So this is probably the best assist for combos because it bounces them higher up in the air. You see the heights of that super compared to this super. They come down a lot faster when it's anything other than 4P. Here's the thing though. Here's another thing as well. So, okay, before we get into that actually, let's discuss just the fact of the utility of these assists. Having two assists that are practically the exact same thing is never a good idea. A good example of this is Tager. Tager has both Spark Bolt upward and Spark Bolt straight ahead. I don't know who thought of that. There's so many other different things that Tager can do, but they gave him that for some reason. Neo is the exact same way. Not only are these specific assists in general bad in their own rights because they don't have block stun, they don't have hit stun. The height that they propel upwards is atrocious as well. Because of this, it reduces her partners significantly. Because while Neo works with a lot of characters, not a lot of characters can work with Neo. Another thing as well, one of the most important things about this game is punishing bursts. This is huge. Punishing bursts. Almost everybody use assists to punish bursts. So if you burst right there, you have to be able to punish it. But if you're using Neo, that task gets incredibly difficult because you cannot punish with 5p or 6p. You cannot. So if I try to do it with 5p, oh, my bad, hold on. Give me a second. I cannot go over there for a punish. I cannot. It's impossible. They're too low to the ground. Automatically, 5p gets stricken out for punishing. That leads 4p. 4p is a lot better because it bounces them higher. So in that regard, okay, I can use 4p to punish. So what's the problem? There are specific assists that are impossible to punish due to how 4p is with Neo. Watch this. So I attack, they burst. Let me try and punish with Neo 4p. Okay, here we go. What happened? I hit the 4p. I should have hit Weiss. Oh, I can't punish Weiss for bursting. I can only jump cancel. I can only predict that. I cannot punish with assist because if I try to do 5p, I can't even do it when they're right in front of me. So far, I've only found Weiss, but I think there's another one that is just like this. I can't punish with 4p. This is why people consider Neo as one of the worst characters in the game. Chie? Yeah, Chie is the other one. That's right. There is a lot of issues with her assists. They are no bueno. Blake, I think it works on Blake, but I have to try it out on more. So here's where everything starts to come together. In this game, almost every single one of the characters that people consider greats or top tier have fantastic assists. And this also draws parallel to the other thing I was talking about, where Neo is very similar to Blake in almost every aspect other than her assists. Blake's assists are fantastic compared to Neo's, at least. Neo's worst assist in the game. So here is where I come in. Oh, by the way, another thing before I get into it. The third issue I have is 2B. Neo has no anti-airs. I don't consider this an anti-air. If I use this as an anti-air, this doesn't autocorrect, by the way. So if they cross me up, I'm dead. And it also has a big whiff animation, which means that if I do this and I whiff it completely, if I don't hit anything, I'm dead. I'm gonna die. Also, if they block this, it's not jump cancelable on block. It's not jump cancelable on block. Almost every other 2B that's similar to Neo's is jump cancelable on block. It's jump cancelable on hits. Oh my gosh, come on. Yeah, it's jump cancelable on hits, but not on block. Which means that if they jump at me and I try to act out of it, I'm gonna die. The only other thing you can do in this situation, you can special cancel it. Special cancel it maybe. But here's the thing. If I ever whiff this or if they block it, this might as well be this is the most useless anti-air, because I can't jump cancel it. But almost every single one of the Ruby characters can jump cancel their anti-airs on block. Now, the only other thing that we can say that is an anti-air is her DP. Too bad that this DP is like one of the worst, has one of the smallest hitboxes ever. I don't get it. 2B is awful. It's atrocious. You can cancel into Umbrella if you want to, but that's really bad. How do you fix this character? Here is where I want to really divulge into this. How do you fix this character? How do you fix her scale? Well, her scaling, that's something I can't fix. They might not fix at all. Her scaling is that's just how it is. Her two biggest flaws are 100% her assists and that 2B. Those two things in particular. That's all I want fixed. I don't care if you give me bad damage scaling for the rest of the time, because her damage really isn't terrible. My proposition is to buff her assists and also buff her 2B. 2B, how do you buff 2B? Jump cancelable on block and a bigger hitbox. Bigger hitbox and jump cancelable on block. You have a million characters that reach to freaking Mars when they do their anti-airs. Hyde, Waldstein, Gordeau. I can name a ton of characters. And you have characters that have a freaking 2B or an anti-air that's the size of the wall of China, dude. The hit behind and front, beside them, everywhere. Having a bigger hitbox on 2B is not that big of a deal. To give her a consistent anti-air is not that big of a deal. I'm just saying. How do you buff her assists? Give her new assists. It's been done before, it can be done again. They gave Noelle new assists, they gave Batista new assists, Ragna new assists, they gave Aegis new assists, they gave a bunch of people new assists. I need them to give her either extensions or brand new assists. How do you fix 6P? This right here. Well, in my opinion, I think we've established that having 2 assists that are the same exact moves, only having just a little bit of a different like attribute to them is not a good idea. So I think 6P, this right here, even though she doesn't have projectiles, her 6P should be Vajra. What's Vajra? It's a slang for this assist right here. If you can have Adachi have a full screen tracking assist, I think you can do the same thing with Neo. 6P Vajra. I call it Vajra, it's slang, but it's the dive kick homing move. Give that to her as 6P. 5P. I actually like this 5P. I like the concept of it. Keep this 5P. However, have her do the follow-up afterwards. So when she does this, have her do that. And have it wall bounce. On block and on hits. Have her do the follow-up. You do that, you fix her 5P. 4P, I think you can keep it the same. That's fine. I don't know anything else that they could do to give her a 4P. I don't mind them keeping this 4P. Even though it's terrible, I don't mind them, as long as they buff the other 2, I don't mind them having that as a 4P. Just basically make it bigger. Basically make it so, number 1, she's farther, and the trajectory is a lot bigger, and the hitbox is bigger too. So you can prevent things like unpunishable... It blows my mind, dude. Unpunishable situations to happen. So things like this won't happen. That's it. If you do all that, this character will be such a great character. Because at that point, you unlock a whole different ton of teammates that you can synergize with. And you can do a lot of cool things with. I want that. I want that Neo. And I really want the Arcsystem to do that for Neo. Because right now, as she is right now, she's fun, she's great, she has strengths, but her weaknesses, I think, are outweighing her strengths. Because her strengths really aren't super unique. A lot of characters can do what she does, but better. There's some things that she can do, only she can do, but her biggest strengths, other people can do, but better. Where she can shine is her assist, and combining that assist with some of the things that nobody else can do. I just wanted to kind of mention that and kind of go over Neo. But like she's got so many good things, man. Her parries are so good. Her full screen, like when doing the right active switching and the right cross combos, like her full screen mix up is actually really freaking good. Like her Vajra and her full screen low, so like her teleports are great. I think it can blow up a lot of different teams. Her loops and her mix-ups are great too. Like her dive kicks are fantastic. Her Mary Poppins is great too. She has so many good things about her that make her fun too. That's the most important part. Fun. She is fun. I just think she could be even funner if... Funner's not even a word, but I'm making it a word for this context. She could be even more fun if she had better assists and she had a better 2B.